Today we're going to be working on the tie rods. However, I lost almost all of the footage when I was installing the first tie rod, but I didn't know that until I was putting this video together, of course. So as I'm doing the second tie rod, I keep referring to things I did in the first tie rod, which you won't have seen. Please just ignore that. The second tie rod goes much better anyways, because of course I had practice on the first tie rod. Anyway, here we go. That brings back so many childhood memories. All right. And I could have just got the piston ring compressor here. Looks like the same exact one. Tie rod removal tool. There it is. Only one. Seems like a theme here. I'm gonna stick this in my pocket, I guess. There we go. Okay, now that we've had some practice on the other tie rod, let's see if we can get the second tie rod done any faster. Pulled into the shade here because it's supposed to be around 100 today. Nope, wrong way. That's not good. These are snug. Now, up and down, no movement there, side to side, yep, a little bit of movement there, so the tie rods are a little, not as bad as the other side, but they're a little loose. If we get the tires balanced, we get these tie rods done, get the new tires on it so there's no scallops or warps or anything, and we get in alignment, if the steering wheel issue goes away, I don't really care so much about the knocking shocks, but I just wish to pinpoint it. I had a Ford Festiva years ago, 1991 Ford Festiva, that I probably drove for 10 years with rattling shocks. Sold it like that. I don't think the people after me changed the shocks either, and never had an issue with it, so I'm not that concerned. Spin. There we go. I tore up my gloves on that first thing. And put the tie rod puller on it. This way. Here we go. Not too bad. Oh, yeah, that one's got grease coming out of it. Maybe I just pinched it. I don't know. Now, for the inside. Well, this one looks like it's going to be harder from the get-go because it's got a heat shield around it. So I've got to figure a way to get that off first. Okay, it looks like it's held on with just a couple of 10 millimeters. One there and one right there. I'll get those off. I don't think I can get the camera in here while I'm taking them off, but it looks like for this one, I'm gonna have to use a little spanner for that and kind of just cram my hand in there and move it little by little. Looks like we can attack this one from the top. Someone mentioned ratcheting spanner would be a good, oh, it's not gonna fit in there with this either. Ratcheting spanner would be a good addition to my toolkit. I actually do have a set of those. However, I've lost the 10 millimeter, so I almost never break them out since these cars are almost all 10 and 12 millimeter everything. I do have the 12, but just like now, it's usually the 10 I need. So, I have to go to the old-fashioned 10 millimeter. Actually, after just removing the one bolt, this thing's pretty flexible. So I can get it out of the way enough to hammer that thing off. Just gonna hammer the little tab sticking up on the edge of this ring here and with a screwdriver, and that should break this off like on the other one, and I can just pull this off after, of course, releasing this one on the smaller end. I literally turned the camera off and it just took one more hit to get it to break loose. There it is. There we go. As on the last one, you need to bend these tabs back, just one on each side, and then just unscrew this thing. Again, I'll use this pry bar that has a bend in it to get it back in there and get behind that tab and hammer it open. It'd be nice if these had like some sort of like clamp on one side and screw or nut on the other. Maybe there's a reason they don't, but the fact that you have to completely take it apart instead of having some sort of like flip open thing here. This is me trying to film this for you and work around this tripod while getting deep inside here without bumping the camera. I just realized y'all probably can't hear a word I'm saying, and I don't know how long it's been since you can't hear a word I'm saying because my microphone was laying in the middle of underneath of the car. So hopefully you didn't miss too much. We'll be right back after I find my 14 millimeter deep well. I literally had to break out another 14 millimeter deep well that works with a bigger wrench, which I might not even be able to fit in here. And see if I can turn that now. Need my giant extension. That was a little hard to do. Okay, let's see if we can make this tie rod and this tie rod, once it's all put together, the same length. And I have to remember to put the clamp on Oh, I gotta get that apart to get the clamp. And the bellows. You know, there's no tears or anything in this original bellows here, but I mean, the thing's 24 years old, so you think this will last as long? Get this apart. I don't want to move this nut too much because that'll change the measurement here. So I'm going to make sure that nut doesn't move while I unscrew this. Now, how to remember where that is? I need some tape. Take that off. That's really all I need, but should I take this off? Yeah. Okay. The nut back on. Look how loose that is. All the grease is going in there. Still, you can't feel the play in there. The play actually might be in the steering. Maybe. I don't know. Alright, right there. Screw this back on. Now that should be right. If we can get this complete product to be the same size as that, we're doing good. Bellows. I'm gonna put a little grease or something in there. Get easier to slip on. Go grab some bearing grease. Here's some grease I've been using since, I don't know, I've been an adult. I wonder what the date is on this. It's probably from, oh, I don't know if that's copyright, but 1995. That might be how old this is. What was that? 95? 2005? 30 years old? Still looks okay. I don't know if you can tell. So I want to be in there, don't I? If I put some around here, it'll lube it on the way up. So, go through there. Oh yeah, that slides much better. Nice. Now, you. That's where I'm going to start looking at the length here. Try to get it straight. Can't move the thing yet. Man, I gotta take a hammer. Give it a little shock. That thing has moved. Ah, yeah, there we go. It is moving. Let's get it straight. Fairly straight. Line up the ends, line up the nuts. Of course, that might not make much difference. Put the tie rod on. Now, let's go back to back. Wow. That's pretty darn close to start with. Pretty darn close. Maybe a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to get any better than that. I'm going to lock it down on that one. You there, and you turn this way. Just double check, make sure they're still lined up. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay, I just need to put that on, put it back together. I'll put a little dab of grease on this. I'm at it. These threads. And where is my pack of grease? It's supposed to come with this. This one didn't come with a pack of grease. I wonder if this was returned. No, no grease. Can I use bearing grease on it? Is that what they use? Seemed like a little bit heavier grease. Well, I'll get it together and then look it up and worry about it then. Leave that on there to protect the threads. Got my new cotter pin. Oh, actually, this was so hard to get on last time, I think I'm going to rub a little grease in here too. So that slots into those grooves. Something like that. So I'm just going to get this started, and then I'm going to turn that washer to where it keys in place and hold it while I screw it the rest of the way in. So I'm just turning it until I feel it drop in the grooves, which there it did. And I'll continue to tighten this so I don't pinch those tabs and mess them up. Okay, now I got to put this tool back on there and try to tighten this a little bit. And that'd be too tight. Just give it a little turn. That's it. I mean, that's snug. Literally didn't even move 1/16 of a turn. Take that thing back off. Okay, bend these tabs. This one has the options of bending them on 4 different directions. So I can either do top and bottom or side and side. That should be okay. I don't think that's going to travel. Alright, let's put some grease in there. Pack it in there good. Don't get in your way, I know. And get this off of the boot. Let's see if I can get this over there. This is one of the hardest parts about the whole thing, is getting that wide end of the boot over the end in there. And get it around one side and then kind of work it like an inner tube around the whole thing. Get in there. I literally worked on this boot for half an hour just trying to get the big end over the lip in there. I gave up, went inside, had a seltzer, watched a couple of welding videos, came back out, hooked one of the edges and massaged it around one time, literally worked on it for 30 more seconds and it went on. So half an hour, no progress, come back, 30 seconds, pops right on. Don't ask me to explain the trick to it. I just kind of got one lip on there and just held that piece of lip that I got around there and just tried to massage the rest of it all the way around. That's the best advice I can give you. Now let's see if I can get this zip tie on there. And let's just do it here. Get it right there and go in. Move this clamp. Squeeze it by hand. Nope. Looks a little bent. Why did it get so bent? That'll work. All right. I'll just straighten that up a little bit. Take that nut off there. Grease off of there. Trying to remember, was it 36 or 39 pounds? Didn't feel like 39 was going to hurt. And, I don't know if you can see this, but cotter pin hole is lined up just right, I think. I'm going to insert it from the back so that we can actually see if we ever have to remove it. There we go. Bend one, back and over this way. Don't bend them both the same way. And then this one, opposite direction. That's good enough. Let's put the wheel back on and take it for a drive. Oh, gotta put that shield back on. Feels good. I want you to notice this. So, I can't hand tighten those anymore. Now, then hit it, and look at that. You can get almost a whole revolution-ish out of each of them as they settle into their tapers. Get my legs out from under here. Now let's take it for a drive and see how it feels. If it pulls or if it wanders on the interstate. Feels a little wiggly. I'm just going to look at this tire. It looks to be turned out to the right just a hair. See what the other one looks like. This one looks straight or turned out to the left. So, might need a little more toe in. Let's do a quick alignment with our string. Okay, steering wheel is straight. We are ½ inch off the hub. One more. No, way too much. So I'm just taking this and just like moving this back and forth on here. Okay, I like that. Now, what we got? 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, a 1/4 of an inch, and a little more than a 1/4 of an inch, and that's good. That's actually toe in. Yeah, so this is in. So let's go for a ride on the interstate and see how it feels. There's the steering wheel wobble. So, haven't done anything about that. Almost shutters in frequency, like shutters and stops. Shutters and stops. Shutters and stops. Why would it do that? Shutters and stops. Now I can see if two wheels that were out of balance were counterbalancing each other. So, you know, one heavy side's at the top while one heavy side's at the bottom. And if you were going around a lot of turns, they would get in rhythm, and maybe the heavy side would be at the same place at the same time. And it'd feel like the whole car was jumping. But when they get out of sync, it kind of smooths out. But we're going in a straight line, and it vibrates and stops. Vibrates and stops. On the plus side, it's tracking perfectly straight. It's not pulling, it's not feeling squirrely. It's actually probably just about the best alignment it's had. Of course, you can't see. Let me show you. So now I'm going around a turn, see if we can get a straightaway again. So it must be pulling just a hair to the right, since it is pitched a little to the left. And it's staying on track. So that right side needs to be towed in just a little bit more, but I will probably wait for the professional alignment people to do that. It's close enough for now. I'm gonna get alignment as soon as I get some tires on, some new tires, and I'm getting some new tires next week. So we'll see how it does after that. Hopefully after they balance it and align it and have the new tires, this steering wheel shake will go away. Now, if you've been following the video series, you'll know that Feisty Kate ran over what we think was an entire axle in the middle of the interstate and ended up bending several of the rims. I attempted to beat them out with a sledgehammer and thought I did a pretty good job, but we took the car to a wheel specialist and he said there was one rim still bent beyond repair and had to be replaced. So, ooh, look what we got here. This might be the wheel. Yeah, feels like a wheel. Looks like a wheel. Yes. There it is. I think that is a match. Today we just got the car back from having it aligned, and I got Feisty Kate here with me, and we're gonna see if we can get above 60 miles per hour without the car vibrating. vibrating. And no vibration. So nice to be just cruising down the interstate smoothly without a care in the world. Except wondering if we're burning any oil, of course. Hey y'all, look at this. Look at my thumb there. You know what this is? It's not a nut. It's a tiny little snapping turtle. Ready to bite. Look at that little mouth. Little claws. It's right here in the middle of the trail. About 10 days ago, I had an accident and I cut my hand with a grinder. This is not the grinder, but I'll use this as an example. I was enlarging a hole in faux granite countertop for a stove insert, so it needed to be 1/2 inch wider and 1/2 inch deeper than it was. And I was using my Makita grinder with a masonry blade and just, widening up those edges. And it has a lock-on button, kind of like this one, but on the side. So it was locked on, and after I made a cut, I held the grinder to the side while it was running, since it, had the lock on. And I started pulling on this little piece of granite, just trying to snap it, and when I did, I jerked back and cut my hand open. So that resulted in a big gash that I held together with a couple of steri strips until I could get to the exigent center, where they put in 5 stitches. Now there appear to be only 4 stitches, so I lost one somewhere or busted one out. I don't even know when that happened. Today I'm going to remove the rest of the stitches DIY. Now, I haven't done any research about this. I probably should have. I've had stitches before and removed them. You're really supposed to go back to the doctor and have them do it after 10 days or so, but got a little alcohol here, some paper towels, my wife's thread snips she uses when she's sewing, and some tweezers. Anyways, I'm going to start by just sterilizing my hand and the tools. Because you don't want any contaminants to be on the threads or the sutures as you pull them through. Start by snipping back some of this dead skin here. Oh, that has one of the sutures in it, so that's going through the suture. Raise that up a little, see what I'm doing. I've got my strongest glasses on. Get that one. Yeah. One down. Sorry I didn't get any before footage of the gash in my hand. I actually don't think about these things until later, so. There's 2. Kind of hurts. There's 3. I don't know about y'all, but I'm one of those who likes, as a kid at least, when I'd get fuzz or something in scabs, that was one of my favorite things, is to pull fuzz out of scabs. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okie dokie. So the full story is, it was about 8:30 in the morning when I was cutting this countertop and ended up slicing my hand open, and I texted Feisty Kate to come and get me and take me to the exigent center so I didn't have to drive myself, because, possibility of being woozy or something. Or I did get cold sweats a couple of times when I was bleeding so much. I filled up a whole paper towel. Anyway, so she took me to the exigent center. The whole thing, from checking in to checking out was about 2 hours, and I went back to the job. I finished the countertop, and then I went on to another job. I installed a disposal and a ceiling fan after that. So you can work with some fresh stitches. They put some non-stick gauze over it and wrapped my hand in one of those stretchy, sticky fabric wraps, I guess it would be. So then for doing the wet work, of course, I put a nitrile glove over all of that.